For 70 years, the way things worked was very simple. The American president asks for something, the Canadian prime minister complains a little, waits, or maybe asks for a small, polite favor. In the end, Canada always gives in. They always give in because they have no choice. When you sleep next to an elephant, you do not poke it. You just hope it does not roll over on you. But yesterday, the elephant rolled over. Donald Trump tried to trap Canada. He pointed a gun at the head of Canada's economy. He demanded full control over trade, energy, and the border. He thought Canada would give up right away. But then something that seemed impossible happened. Mark Carney did not back down. He did not yell. He did not go online and write in big capital letters. He just said no. That quiet no, that firm refusal is now very loud inside the White House. We are seeing a big change in how the world works, and it is happening right now. You are watching the exact moment when the United States learned that bullying only works when the other person is afraid. Right now, Canada is not afraid. Canada is thinking carefully. In the next 40 minutes, I will explain exactly what happened in the last 24 hours. I will show you the proof, the secret papers, the trade numbers, and the fear spreading through American supply chains at this moment. While Trump makes a lot of noise, Carney is making history. If you think this is only about milk, wood, or steel, you are missing the real story. This is about who really has the power in North America. For the first time in 100 years, it might not be the person in the White House. Get ready. The old rules are gone. Let us cut through all the noise and look at the clear timeline. If you only watch regular news, you hear about arguments and talks. This is not a talk. This is a crash. 3 days ago, the Trump White House sent a paper called a Memorandum of Understanding to Ottawa. In polite words, it was a list of demands. But these were not normal demands. This was not about changing milk prices or speeding up passport checks. This was a paper that asked Canada to give up. People in Washington say the demands included a complete rewrite of the energy part of the USMCA deal. It would give the US full access to Canadian water power and oil at very low prices. It demanded that Canada drop its digital services tax right away. And the worst part? It demanded that Canada follow Washington's ideas about China completely. The threat was clear. If Canada did not sign in 48 hours, Trump would put a 25% tariff on every single thing crossing the border from the north. Cars, oil, food, everything. Usually this is when the Canadian Prime Minister flies to Washington, shakes hands, smiles for pictures, and gives up a little freedom to keep things calm. That is the old plan, but Mark Carney threw that plan away. Yesterday afternoon, instead of going to Washington, Carney held a press conference in Ottawa. He did not look nervous, he did not look mad, he looked like a bank boss looking at a bad report. He walked to the microphone and did not even say Trump's name. He just said Canada would not sign the paper. He said Canada's resources belong to Canadians. Then he said something huge. He announced that if the US puts on tariffs, Canada will not just fight back. Canada will immediately use Clause 14. We will explain Clause 14 soon and why it made stock traders in New York drop their coffee. But first, feel the mood in that room. This was not a show for cameras. This was a leader telling a bully, go ahead and try. Trump's answer came fast. He went on his social media site. He called Carney weak. He called him a bad globalist name. He said he would build a wall on the northern border. He shouted about neighbors who are not thankful. But here is the truth about shouting. It only works if people listen. While Trump shouted, Carney was making calls to the European Union. He talked to Mexico. He talked to governors in Michigan and New York who are scared of losing trade with Canada. What happened yesterday was not just saying no to a trade paper. It was saying no to the idea that the United States owns Canada. It was a new kind of independence in today's money world. The most frightening thing for Trump is that he does not know what to do next. He has a hammer, he sees a nail, but the nail stood up and walked away. You might think politicians always talk tough. What makes this different? I am glad you asked because we have proof. We have numbers that show this is not just words. This is a real money fight, and Canada came with stronger tools. Let us look at proof number one, the power grid. Trump often talks about being strong in energy. He loves that idea. Drill for oil, get gas. He thinks America stands alone. But look at this fact. New York City, Boston, the whole northeast part of the US. Do you know where a lot of their electricity comes from? It comes from Hydro-Québec. It comes from the north. When Carney said no to those demands, he was not just protecting Canadian pride. He was protecting the power lines that keep lights on in big cities. The secret paper says Trump wanted low prices locked in for that power. Carney said no. The proof? Look at the energy market this morning. The price of future electricity in the Northeast jumped 14% in just 2 hours. Why? The market knows the truth. If Trump starts a trade fight, Canada does not need to attack. They can just do work on a power line. They can just check how much power they send, and suddenly New York has no lights. Proof number two, the car industry panic. The American car business is not just American, it is North American. One car part can cross the US-Canada border up to 7 times before the car is done. It is like a tight knot. You cannot cut it without causing big pain. When Trump threatened the 25% tariff, he thought he would hurt Canada. But look at this letter from the governor of Michigan. It leaked last night. It went to the White House. It does not say, "Great work, Mr. President." It says, if you go ahead with these tariffs, 3 big car plants in my state will close in 4 days. 4 days, that is the proof. Carney knows this. He knows that Trump's own supporters, the factory workers in the middle of the country, will lose jobs first if the supply chain breaks. Carney is not pointing a gun at his own head. He is showing that Trump is pointing a gun at his own foot. Proof number 3, the Clause 14 secret. I talked about Clause 14 before. People are searching for it today. It is a small, hard-to-find rule in the trade deal about countries that do not play fair in markets and about important resources. In simple terms, it lets a country send its key minerals to other friendly countries if its safety is at risk. Carney did not just say no. He showed that Canada has some of the biggest supplies of lithium, cobalt, and uranium in the world. These are things needed for missiles, electric cars, and the future. By using this rule, he is getting ready to sell those things to Europe and Japan instead of the United States. That is the biggest proof. He is telling the US military, you want to play tough? Okay, we will sell the batteries for your vehicles to Germany. This is not a fake threat. You can see mining company stocks moving. Canadian mining companies with deals in Europe went up 8% this morning. The market trusts Carney. They do not trust Trump. And last, proof number 4, the quiet from friends. Notice who is not helping Trump right now. The UK says nothing. France is quiet. Germany is quiet. Usually friends step in to calm things, but they are watching. They are waiting. They know that if Carney wins this, it breaks the old fear. It shows you can stand up to the bully and still be okay. The world is watching the proof stack up on Trump's desk. And for the first time, the price is too high for him to pay. To understand why this is happening, you have to understand how Donald Trump thinks. I do not mean that as a mean comment. I mean it as a clear look at his plan. Trump believes in pushing as hard as possible. He thinks if the threat is big enough, loud enough, and scary enough, the other side will always break. It worked on builders in the 1980s. It worked on some weak politicians in his party. It worked on countries with no other choices. But here is why he is losing his grip now. He is easy to predict. Carney knows what Trump will do before he does it. It is like playing chess against someone who only moves the queen. It looks strong. But once you trap the queen, the game ends. Trump is losing because his power is not real. He thinks the US economy is the only place to play. 10 years ago, that might have been true, but today, Canada has free trade deals with the European Union. Canada has the CPTPP deal with Asia. Canada is the only G7 country with free trade to every other G7 country. Carney spent his whole career building these connections. He did not build them just to have them. He built them for a moment like this. Trump is yelling into a loudspeaker thinking he scares Canadians. But Canadians are putting on headphones to block the noise and turning to Brussels, turning to Tokyo. You can see the worry growing in the White House. Look at the messages. They are getting wilder. First tariffs, then closing the border, then punishments. When a leader changes the threat 3 times in 6 hours, that is not power, that is struggling. That is a man seeing that the wheel he turns does nothing. He is also losing his own party. Senators from states near the border are worried. Their phones keep ringing from farmers who sell corn to Canada, from companies that need Canadian wood. They tell Trump, stop, you will hurt us badly. Trump hates being told to stop. He hates being told he is wrong, so he pushes harder, he yells more, but the louder he gets, the more alone he looks. He tries to use fear, but fear is like money. Right now, because of high prices and mess, the value of Trump's fear is dropping fast. People are not afraid of his messages anymore. They are just tired of them. And Carney is counting on that tiredness. He bets that American people and American companies are tired of the mess. He bets that if he stands still, Trump will wear himself out. It is like the way a bullfighter works. You do not fight the bull. You let the bull run past you. Right now, Trump is running full speed at a red cloth, not seeing the cliff behind it. Let us talk about Mark Carney. This is not about praising leaders too much. Leaders work for the people, but you have to respect real skill when you see it. Past Canadian prime ministers tried to be Trump's friend. They tried to make him like them. They tried to be the polite neighbor. Justin Trudeau tried being nice, then tried being calm. It worked for a while until it stopped. Carney is doing something very different. He is not playing a political game. He is playing a money game. Mark Carney was once the head of the Bank of Canada. He was once the head of the Bank of England. He understands how money moves around the world better than almost anyone. He knows where the cash flows. He knows the hidden problems in the money markets. When he looks at Trump, he does not see a scary monster. He sees a risky bet. He sees danger in the ups and downs. His plan is different because it is about the whole system. He is not just saying no to one deal. He is turning on a big network. Look at his words. He does not say mean things or unfair. He says stability, certainty, rule of law. Why? Because those are words that big money people on Wall Street love. Those are words that company bosses love. By acting like the calm grown-up, he makes Trump look like the danger. He is basically telling investors around the world, if you put money in America, a late-night message might destroy it. If you put money in Canada, it is safe. We follow clear rules. He is using calm to fight. He is making Canada the safe place in a world that Trump is setting on fire. This is a long plan. Trump thinks in short news days. Carney thinks in 10-year money plans. And the smart part of this move is that it is quiet. It does not need big crowds. It does not need special hats. It just needs to be good at the job. He is building a group of countries that agree. He is telling Europe, we stand with you. He is telling American governors, we are your friends. Your president is the problem. It is a plan to split things. He is putting a split between Donald Trump and the United States. He bets that America is more than one person. He bets that Canada can handle the hard time long enough for Trump to fail. It is dangerous. Very dangerous. If Trump really puts the 25% tariffs, Canada will feel pain. Prices will rise in Toronto and Vancouver. People will have a hard time. Carney knows this, but he also knows giving up is worse. He knows if he gives in now, Trump will just ask for more next month. He has decided that fighting costs a lot, but giving up costs forever. That is real leadership. That is the difference. So why should you care? Maybe you live in Ohio. Maybe you live in Texas. Maybe you live in Alberta or London. Why does this fight matter to you? Because this is not just a trade argument. This is the end of the old deal after World War II. For 80 years, the agreement was that the US leads and everyone else gets rich by following. That agreement is over. Trump ended it and Carney is finishing the burial. If this break keeps going, here is what happens to you. First, prices. If the border gets harder, if tariffs hit, your food costs change fast. Not by pennies, by dollars. Fresh fruit in winter comes through chains that cross borders, cars, machines, wood for building. Prices were already high. This would make it a real crisis. Second, jobs. Millions of jobs on both sides depend on goods moving easily. If you work in factories, shipping, or stores, you are right in the middle of this fight. But the biggest thing is trust. For many years, Canada was the quiet, dependable neighbor. If the US loses Canada, it stands truly alone. Picture a world where the United States has to talk to Canada like it is an enemy. Picture needing papers to visit Montreal. Picture Canadian oil going to China instead of Texas factories. That makes America weaker. It makes America poorer. It makes the world less safe. Carney's no is like a mirror. He holds it up to America and says, look at what you have turned into. Is this what you want? If you are American and watching this, you need to know your president is risking your money's safety to win political points. He is treating your closest friend like an enemy and he is pushing them toward your competitors. If you are Canadian, this is your big moment. This is when you learn if your country is truly free or just follows orders. Carney has made his bet. Now you live with what happens next. This changes the map for real. We are seeing a North America that is split, not trusting and getting ready to protect itself. The open border, the longest peaceful border ever, that idea is ending right now. Once it is gone, you cannot vote it back. There was a moment yesterday that showed everything. It was not the speech. It was not the message. It was a photo at the Peace Bridge between Buffalo and Fort Erie. The driver is American. The gate is Canadian. For the first time in his job, the gate was closed just for a normal check, they said, but the line of trucks behind him went back 3 miles. That picture is what the future looks like if this does not get fixed. That driver is you, stuck, waiting, paying for a fight of pride in Washington. So what happens next? Let us look at the possible endings. Ending A, Trump backs down. This is the most likely one, though he will never call it backing down. Trump sees the stock market fall hard. He sees his big supporters yelling. He says it is a great win, says Canada agreed to a small thing they already agreed to years ago, and he drops the tariff idea. He says the job is done and moves on. Carney stays quiet, nods, and gets ready for the next time. Ending B, things get worse. Trump's pride takes over. He puts the tariffs on, 25%. Canada fights back right away. The border stops moving. The US goes into a bad economy time in 90 days. Prices go way up. Republicans get scared and try to stop him, but the harm is done. This is the bad destruction ending. Ending C, the slow split. This one is the most interesting. The tariffs stay but are smaller. Canada moves faster toward Europe and Asia. Over the next 5 years, the North American money world comes apart. The US gets more alone and Canada becomes a power closer to London and Berlin than to Washington. a lasting move away. Carney is getting ready for ending C. He hopes for ending A, but he is set for ending B. This is when leaders usually make things calm, but Trump does not calm down, and Carney does not give in. So we are stuck in that truck, watching the snowfall, waiting to see if the gate opens. The world is changing. The old maps do not fit anymore. Donald Trump thought he could force reality to obey. He thought he could make Canada bow just by yelling loud. But Mark Carney reminded him of a very old, very simple rule in politics. Your power is only as big as your choices. Right now, Canada has choices. America is running low on them. This is not just a trade story, it is a story about respect. It is a story about what happens when you push a friend too hard. Carney did not shout. He made ignoring Canada very expensive. Now Trump must choose. Does he want a trade fight he could lose or a calm he cannot brag about? I want to know what you think. Is Carney playing a smart game or is he risking too much against a strong force that could hurt Canada's economy? Is Trump strong or is he being shown as weak? This is history. Do not just watch it, understand it. Put your thoughts in the comments below. I read everyone. And if you want to know what happens when markets open on Monday, if you want the news before regular media even gets the story, make sure you are subscribed. Turn on notifications because the gate is down and we are waiting for what comes next. I will see you in the next one.